The drums echoed deep into the African night. The fire in the center of the tribal village roared with life, sending sparks into the star-filled sky. Around it, men danced in circles, their painted bodies moving with raw power, while women clapped and sang, their voices rising like waves across the savannah. At the very heart of this circle, on a throne carved from ivory and gold, sat Queen Amara, the ruler of the Mbala tribe. She was a woman of fire, both feared and desired. Her dark skin glistened under the torchlight, her eyes like burning coals that held the strength of 1,000 storms. Adorned with golden bangles and the crown of her ancestors, she looked untouchable, divine, yet her heart beat with a hunger she could not admit. For years, Amara had ruled with wisdom and iron discipline. Men bowed before her, warriors died for her, and women whispered her name with both reverence and envy. Yet behind her fierce gaze lay a secret, a loneliness that no crown could cure. As the celebration raged, her eyes scanned the crowd. They landed on a stranger. He was taller than most warriors, his body carved with strength, his skin bronzed by the sun. Unlike the men of her tribe, his features carried the mark of another land, sharp jaw, piercing eyes that glowed even in the firelight. He stood still among the chaos, watching her, not with fear, not with reverence, but with something else, something dangerous. Their eyes locked. For a moment the drums faded, the voices disappeared, and the world shrank to just the two of them. Queen Amara felt her breath catch, an unfamiliar heat rising within her. The man did not bow, he did not look away. Instead, his lips curved into the faintest shadow of a smile. Amara's fingers tightened around the armrest of her throne. No one dared to look at the queen this way. No one had ever challenged her with nothing but a stare. Her pulse quickened. Her mind told her to summon the guards, to demand who this stranger was and why he dared to enter her land without permission. But her heart whispered something she had not allowed herself to feel in years. Desire. The drums thundered again. The people cheered, unaware that their queen's world had shifted in a single glance. That night when the fire died and the tribe slept, Amara lay awake in her grand hut, staring at the ceiling of woven palm leaves. She could still feel his eyes on her, searing her skin like fire. And for the first time, the mighty Queen of Flames trembled not from fear, but from a hunger she could no longer ignore. The sun bled over the horizon, painting the savannah in shades of gold and crimson. The Mbala tribe had just awakened from a night of music and fire. Women prepared the morning meal, children chased each other near the huts, and warriors sharpened their spears for the day's hunt. But Queen Amara's mind was still trapped in the firelit moment from last night, the eyes of the stranger who dared to look at her without fear. She had not slept. His image clung to her, haunting and dangerous. By mid-morning, the village drums called out, a summons from the guards. "Your Majesty," the elder guard knelt before her, "a man was found near the river at dawn. He claims no harm, but he is not of our tribe." Her heart skipped. Could it be him? "Bring him," she ordered, her voice calm, though her pulse raced beneath her golden necklaces. Moments later, 2 warriors escorted the stranger into her hut. He walked tall despite the heavy ropes around his wrists, his gaze steady, unbroken. His body bore the marks of long travel, dust-covered skin, a cloak torn from battle, and muscles shaped by survival. When his eyes met hers again, the world seemed to stop. The guards pushed him forward, but Amara raised her hand. "Leave us." The warriors hesitated. To leave their queen alone with a dangerous man was unthinkable, but her voice carried the weight of command. Slowly they withdrew, leaving only the two of them in the chamber. For the first time, silence filled the space. "You," she spoke softly, her voice a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. "You are no son of Mbala. Who are you?" The stranger's lips curled into a faint smirk. "My name is Kale. I come from beyond the great river." "Why are you here?" she asked, her tone sharp. Kale tilted his head, his eyes never leaving hers. "Perhaps destiny wished me to stand before a queen of fire." The boldness of his words struck her like a spear. No man spoke to her this way, not even her highest chiefs. She should have been furious. She should have had him executed for his insolence. Yet instead, she felt her skin heat under his gaze. "Do you not fear death?" she asked. Kale stepped closer, the ropes straining at his wrists. His voice was low, dangerous. "I have faced beasts in the wild, storms in the desert, blades in the dark. Why should I fear the eyes of a woman, no matter how fierce she may be?" Her breath caught. For a heartbeat, the mighty queen felt small, seen not as a ruler, not as a goddess, but as a woman. The tension thickened, filling the room like smoke. Finally, she forced herself to look away, breaking the spell. "You will remain in this village until I decide your fate," she said firmly, though her heart betrayed her calm. Kale lowered his head in mock obedience. "As you wish, my queen." The way he spoke those words, not with reverence but with heat, sent a shiver down her spine. That night, as the tribe feasted again, Amara found her eyes searching for him among the crowd. And when she finally caught his gaze, he was already looking at her, as if he had never stopped. The night settled heavy over the savannah, its silence broken only by the crackle of fire and the distant roar of wild beasts. Within the village, songs had quieted, and families retreated to their huts. Only the guards remained awake, packing the borders under the moon's pale glow. But Queen Amara could not sleep. Her thoughts tangled with the memory of Kale, the defiant stranger with eyes like molten fire. Every word he had spoken lingered inside her like an echo she could not silence. She had ruled men with strength her entire life, yet never had one dared to meet her gaze without fear. Her body ached with an unfamiliar hunger, a dangerous hunger. At last, unable to resist, she left her hut. The cool air kissed her skin as she wrapped a crimson cloak around her shoulders. Her feet carried her to the edge of the village where Kale had been kept under watch. He sat against a post, his hands still bound, yet his posture was proud, unbroken. When he noticed her approaching, he smiled as if he had been waiting all along. "Your Majesty," he said softly, his voice carrying across the quiet night. Her heart skipped. Even bound, he looked untamed, a wild beast who refused to bow. "You should be asleep," she said, her tone sharper than she intended. "And you," he countered, tilting his head, "do queens not dream?" His boldness startled her. She should have turned back, but instead she stepped closer. The firelight flickered across his face, sharpening his jaw, illuminating the heat in his eyes. Their gazes locked again, the same fire as before, but hotter now, pulling her in like a forbidden spell. "Why do you look at me so?" she demanded, though her voice trembled. Kale's lips curved. "Because you are a woman before you are a queen, and your eyes burn like someone who hides her fire." Her chest tightened. No one had ever dared to strip away her crown with words, to see the woman hidden beneath the ruler. "You are reckless," she whispered, though her steps betrayed her as she moved closer still. "And you," Kale said, his voice deep husky, "are curious." The air between them thickened, heavy with unspoken desire. Amara could feel the heat radiating from him, the magnetic pull of something forbidden yet irresistible. She should have ordered the guards to take him away, she should have turned her back, but she did not. Instead, her hand lifted, almost against her will, brushing the ropes at his wrists. For a fleeting second, her fingers touched his skin, hot, alive, electric. The contact jolted through her entire body like fire coursing through her veins. His eyes burned into hers, unflinching. "You feel it too," Kale murmured. Amara's breath caught. She snatched her hand back, her heart thundering. "Enough," she hissed, though her voice lacked power. "You will remain here until I decide otherwise." She turned swiftly, her cloak swirling behind her. Yet as she walked away, her body trembled with a fire she could no longer deny. Behind her, Kale's voice carried through the night, low and certain. "You can bind my hands, Queen of Flames, but you cannot bind what burns inside you." Her steps faltered. For a moment she nearly turned back, nearly. Instead, she vanished into the darkness, but his words followed her into her dreams, igniting a fire she knew could no longer be hidden. The moon was high, draping the village in silver light. Most of the tribe slept, their huts quiet except for the faint crackle of dying fires. But Queen Amara lay awake once more, her heart restless, her skin burning with an ache she could not name. She had tried to bury the thoughts, the fire in Kale's eyes, the dangerous thrill in his voice, the heat of his skin beneath her fingers. Yet the more she resisted, the stronger the hunger grew. At last, unable to bear it, she rose from her bed. Silently, she slipped past the guards at her door, her crimson cloak shielding her in shadows. Her steps carried her to the far edge of the camp, where Kale was bound beneath the stars. He was awake, waiting. "I knew you would come," he murmured, his voice deep, steady, almost teasing. Amara's breath caught, but she forced her tone to remain sharp. "You presume too much." "Do I?" His eyes glinted in the moonlight. "Then why do your steps find me in the dead of night, Queen of Flames?" Her chest tightened. She wanted to do.